Hello friends, today we are launching our YouTube channel with an introductory video on Marcus Aurelius and Stoicism. A hearty welcome to all, and through this channel we will be discussing life-affirming philosophical thoughts from East, West, literature, great movies and even from everyday life. Basically, this channel is an attempt to dig deeper into the vast sea of knowledge that humanity has gifted us so as to reach an ultimate truth or an ultimate conclusion about life, if such a thing exists. To achieve this aim, we will be focusing on three areas: literature, philosophy and great movies. With this introductory note, let's move on to the video, guys. As we all know, Stoicism is that strand of philosophy that came into prominence during the ancient Greek Hellenistic age, and one among the few that found its path into posterity and into our modern age. In our 21st century, that is marked by social media, anxiety disorders, depression, addictions, and also a cross-cultural crumbling of values, leading to an adoption of pure hedonistic lifestyle by many. We are seeing that the basic tenets of Stoicism are becoming more imminent. The works of three great Roman trio represent our understanding of Stoicism today, namely Seneca, Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius. Today, let's dig deeper into the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius to understand how this great soul and Roman emperor tried to answer the question, what is a good life? Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome from 161 to 180 AD, and he had led a hard life, dealing with many ugly border disputes, unreliable warlords, and many attempted coups. In his mid-50s, Marcus started committing his thoughts to a personal journal, which he never intended to publish. But posterity has gifted him a lasting reputation and greatness as the author of Meditations, one of the representative works of Stoic philosophy. A key element that lies at the core of this philosophy is the Stoics' focus on what's in our control and vice versa. Marcus writes, "If you are distressed by any external thing, it is not this thing which disturbs you, but your judgment about it, and it is in your power to wipe out that judgment now." Marcus Aurelius borrowed this idea from Epictetus, the slave philosopher, who through the quality and strength of his thoughts became a man of true excellence and greatness. Epictetus believed that some things are up to us and some things are not up to us. And the misery of humanity arose from the fact that we tend to focus on the things which are not in our total control. What other people think about us, our reputation, possessions, fame, or even someone reciprocating our love. These are things which are not in our total control. When we are wasting our precious time and energy on these externals, we are losing our focus from what is truly important, the internal fortress that provides freedom. We may be helpless when confronted with the death of a loved one, car accident, earthquake, or a divorce. But what lies in our total control is the judgment we make about what has happened. We can either interpret it as a tragedy that hampered our growth once and for all, or as a blessing in disguise that diverted us into our authentic path of self-fulfillment. As Shakespeare's Macbeth points out, there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Epictetus continues, "Our opinions are up to us, and our impulses, desires, aversions, in short, whatever is our own doing. Every day, one can decide to be a man of truth, authenticity, discipline, magnanimity, self-reliance, or freedom. Each hour, we can focus on what we are passionate about and creatively launch a business venture, create a short story, publish a novel, or even creatively bring up our offsprings. Therefore, as a result of gaining total control over these things which are up to us, we naturally start attracting those things that lie beyond our total control." Cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a widely practiced psychotherapeutic treatment for depression, has its roots on this aspect of Stoicism. But it is very important to remember that the Stoics never claimed that we deny sensual pleasures, possessions, wealth, fame, or powerful positions. These are elements of life that a Stoic enjoyed if it came his way. In fact, Seneca was one of the most successful playwright, a great orator, and also a powerful statesman in ancient Rome, and Epictetus, a great teacher in very high demand. But as they are deeply aware of the impermanent nature of human life and universe, they never get attached to these externals. Therefore, when this external element ceases to exist, as it often does, the Stoic philosopher doesn't wallow in misery like the masses of humanity. Instead, he will maintain an equanimous smile on his lips, remembering the Buddha's words, "Many do not realize that we here must die. For those who realize this, quarrels end." The second most important takeaway from Stoic philosophy is their suggestion, memento mori, or remember death. Like the Buddha, the Stoics are deeply aware of the universal law of impermanence that guides and permeates everything. After approvingly quoting Epictetus' advice that while enjoying companionship with friends, family, or even any human being, constantly contemplate the fact that it will come to an end. That is, if nothing else will, our own death will end it. Then Marcus writes, you could live life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This is a point where I see interesting parallels between Buddhism and Stoicism. In Dhammapada, the Buddha asks, why the laughter? Why the joy when flames are ever burning? Surrounded by darkness, shouldn't you search for light? Look at this beautified body, a mass of sores propped up, full of illness, the object of many plans with nothing stable or lasting. Maranasati, or the mindfulness of death, is a Buddhist meditation practice that is commonly practiced in Southeast Asian Buddhist monasteries. Though the Buddhists use this practice to develop samvega, or a sense of spiritual urgency, and nekama, or renunciation, any common man can maintain awareness of the fleeting nature of human existence to thrive in life and to understand the meaninglessness of distractions. As Steve Jobs pointed out, remembering that I will be dead soon is the most important tool I have ever encountered to help me make the big choices in life. Because almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving only what is truly important. Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart. Thirdly, Marcus believed that virtues or strong ethical values provide the foundation for a great and meaningful life. Only a person with nobility of character must be looked upon and venerated as possessing a great soul. Some examples he provides are Socrates, Heraclitus, and Epictetus. In fact, the entire first book of Meditations is dedicated to elaborate on the values Marcus had learned from his family members, friends, father, mother, teachers, etc. Therefore, Marcus Aurelius writes, practice the virtues you can show: honesty, gravity, endurance, austerity, resignation, abstinence, patience, sincerity, moderation, seriousness, high-mindedness. Don't you see how much you have to offer beyond excuses like can't, and yet you still settle for less? Being the emperor of Rome, he understood through personal experience that a heroic life is more than anything else a life lived in service of values. One can value truth, freedom, beauty, friendship, self-reliance, discipline, or a career in a specific field, or even a lover. However, a life without self-created values and an aim to which one can direct every impulse and indeed every thought is utterly foolish and meaningless according to Marcus. Therefore, he goes on, it can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you inside or out. Another very important aspect that occupies the core of Stoicism is the belief that humans form a part of this cosmos which is guided by Logos. The Stoic philosopher learns a great deal by observing the natural world around him. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, some people are like a vine that produces grapes without looking for anything in return. A horse at the end of the race, a dog when the hunt is over, a bee with its honey stored, and a human being after helping others. They don't make a fuss about it. They just go on to something else as the vine looks forward to bearing fruit again in season. We should be like that, acting naturally. Maintaining internal harmony and balance in the face of both tragedy and prosperity is a key tenet of Stoicism, and nature is a great teacher that carries within it seeds of deep wisdom on this aspect. Looking up to the sky during wee hours, we see a rising sun dedicated to his duty of providing light. Through photosynthesis, trees are constantly taking in carbon dioxide and provides oxygen without exhibiting laziness even for a second. The nightingales singing harmoniously, ants collecting food together, they all teach us to be dedicated, magnanimous, simple, patient, and compassionate, and to perform our duty with utmost sincerity. By maintaining an internal harmony through a life lived in service of values, and also by creating an external harmony by dedicating our life to a meaningful purpose, we can reach the state of non-action or Wu Wei, as expressed by the great Taoist philosopher Lao Tzu. He writes, "The master gives himself up to whatever the moment brings. He knows that he is going to die and has nothing left to hold on to. No illusions in his mind, no resistance in his body. He doesn't think about his actions, they flow from the core of his being." But most people, even after learning the philosophy of Stoicism, never convert it into actions or make it a part of their life. After the initial surge of energy that accompanies when exploring this great philosophy, they fall back into their old patterns of existence or addictions or comfort at the first sight of distractions and short-term pleasures. They block the thought of impending death, hiding beside the wall near their back by stuffing their stomach with junk foods, escaping through social media or drinking alcohol, or by escaping through drugs or cigarettes. Marcus Aurelius has words for them as well. In Book 2 of Meditations, he writes, "Remember how long you have been putting this off, how many extensions the gods gave you, and you didn't use them. At some point, you have to recognize what world it is that you belong to, what power rules it, and from what source you spring. That there is a limit to the time assigned you, and if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return." Thank you.